Okay, cool. So we are live. Super exciting. Okay, I'm just going to open the chat. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, so we'll just wait a couple of minutes to let people come on. Cool. So we have the first people rolling in. Great. So for those of you who are here already, you can let me know where in the world are you tuning in from, and also what are you the most grateful for in your life right now? Oh wow, the chat is rolling really quickly. So Matt, tuning in from San Antonio, Texas, grateful for this gathering you created. Hey Matt, Cinder from Holland, Leipa, Stockholm. Yes, Mark, I'm also grateful for this ever-expanding journey I'm on. Awesome. The Netherlands, Norway. Hey Åge. Hey Cecilia. Nice. It's so cool. So for those of you who are coming on now, let me know where you are tuning in from, as well as what you are the most grateful for in your life right now. Joanna from Ireland says, I'm most grateful for a wonderful expanding relationship with my husband. Beautiful, that's so nice. Malmö, Sweden, welcome. Hannah, Angelique, Will, Mia. This is so much fun. So I am right now on the big island of Hawaii. I just arrived here the day before yesterday and experiencing so much recharging and rejuvenation already. It's just such an amazing place. If you ever have the chance to go to Hawaii in this lifetime, if you haven't already, then I super warmly recommend you doing that. So let's see. That's so cool. Oh, Canada, that's nice. So we have people from Canada and all around the United States and Holland and Stockholm and Sweden and Norway. Hey, City. Nice. Santa Cruz, California. Okay, so Victoria says you're not seeing anything. So I'm just going to type in the chat if you're experiencing video. Let's see. Video or audio issues. Hit refresh. So, question for everyone. Can you all see me and hear me? Just waiting for that, because if you cannot see or hear me, then for sure we need to do something. Miriam says, grateful for women's support. Yes, I'm also grateful for women's support and men's support as well. So just checking in with you all if you can all see me and hear me before we go any further in this. No video. You say no video. Okay. Okay, so you can hear me, but you cannot see me. That is bizarre indeed. Let me see, just... Okay. No video, no sound, nothing, says Judith. Okay, so can I hear from... Okay, so it looks like we have a lot of no videos happening here. No video here too. That's not good. Okay. So let's see if we can get rolling. Okay, wow. It looks like we have a lot of no videos. That's weird. That's never ever happened before. So I'm gonna switch camera to the inbuilt one instead and just see if it works better. Just a second. Okay, guys, so can you see me now? Is the video on now? Aloha, baby. Aloha from Sweden. That's so nice. Okay, guys, so can you let me know if you can see me and hear me now? Switched. Yeah. Okay, Matt, refreshing. That's good. Okay. Okay, cool. So we're trying again. Okay, let's see. Okay, guys, I'm back in. I'm just writing in the chat. This has never happened before. Okay. So I'm just keep on hoping that this will actually come on, that the video and the sound will come on soon. I switched my audio and video settings once again. Okay, guys and girls, we have nearly 100 people in the room. Thank you for the positive vibes, Chantal and everyone. See what I can do. Otherwise, we have to Otherwise we have to, yeah, what can we do? Okay, give me 5 minutes. So I'm just writing in the chat. In the meantime, click on your favorite music and dance. Okay, cool. So let's see. Okay. Okay. Okay, let me see if I can edit. Okay, so I don't know if you can hear me at all now, but what I'm doing now is I'm deleting my admin as a presenter because she is not here, so that might be the thing. Okay, go live, presenter, open. Okay. So can you hear me now? Can you see me now? Let's see if this worked. Okay, guys, so let's see. Yes. Okay, guys, so can you see me now? Starting. There's a change on your screen. That's great, Corinne. Wonderful. Okay, looks promising. Yay. Okay, guys, please, please, please let me know that you can see me now. Yes! Ah, finally. That is so cool. Okay, guys, we are in, baby. Yes. So great. Finally, man. You know what happened though? It was because I had added my virtual. Oh, come on. And it's done. Yes. Chantal, can you see me? Well, that was short. Okay, great. Are we still on? Are we still on? Oh man. Presenter has ended the broadcast. Okay, Mark says you can see me. Okay, Angelique, see you again. Okay, am I still here? Am I still here? Okay, Eva, you can see me? Okay, Rain, you can see me. Great. Siti, you can see me. Matt, you can see me. Crystal, no. Okay. Okay, guys. Okay, guys. Let's see. Hit refresh. It seems like most of you can see and hear now. Okay, great. Maria, Chantal, yes, 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 yes. Okay, are we good to go? Are we good to go? Are we officially on board and ready to go? Okay, you say back again. It works. Got it. Okay. Okay, guys. So what I'm gonna do. Thank you, Chantal. Yes, feeling very hot. It's really warm here. Okay, guys. So just after checking in, that it seems like now most of you can see and hear me. That's what it seems like. Okay, cool. Ivan from Serbia. That's cool. Okay, great. So, so just in the beginning, I asked you to let me know where you're all tuning in from and also what you are the most grateful for in your life right now. So feel free to do that. Once again, if you didn't already, what are you the most grateful for and from where are you tuning in? And by the way, there's going to be a replay of this. So if at any point you are thrown out or anything, just know that Webinar Jam is recording the entire thing, so that even if your personal connection freezes for a moment or anything like that, you will be able to watch the replay afterwards. So don't freak out, just hit refresh, make sure that your sound is on, make sure that you have the latest browser and that you're not downloading movies or streaming anything in the background. Anything else you have open at the same time will slow your connection down. So just close anything else and just be fully present with what we are doing here now. Let's see. Okay, so great. Yeah, grateful for women's support and good friends. Grateful for being alive. Grateful for this ever-expansive epic journey. Thankful for this wonderful life. Awesome. That's so cool. Okay, so sorry about that, guys. It seemed like it's happened because I had added my assistant Leonia as an admin presenter to this, and she couldn't make it today, so she was just kind of not logged in yet. And that's why, even though I was logged in and on this live broadcast, it didn't start showing to you guys. So now I know that. It's never happened before, but now I know. So I'm so happy that you're still here. And for anyone else, you're very welcome to watch the replay. But I'm most grateful for my two little boys and a little girl who should join us in 2 months. Wow, a new one little coming. That's so amazing. That's so cool. So maybe in a few years you can show her the replay of this webinar and let her know that we were thinking about her while she was still in the womb. Yes, Vivi, I'm happy that I'm on Hawaii as well. So nice that you're joining from Sweden. Okay, guys, so let's begin by tuning in and just landing in this. So after all of the bliss of anticipation and adrenaline and all of that pumping in our blood, let us just settle in the bliss and the satisfaction of finally being tuned in together and live, and we can hear and see each other, or at least you can hear and see me now. Okay, great. So wonderful. Angelique, sing you sing with Tigmug. Cool, you're joining the retreat. That's so nice. Okay. So for everyone, take a moment. If you want to place your hands on your heart or anywhere in your body, feel free. Otherwise, just rest your hands in your lap. And if you like, you can close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. So without pushing or forcing anything, simply allowing a few deep breaths to flow in and out of your body. So breathing into your heart, breathing into your belly. So expanding with the in-breath and relaxing with the out-breath. I can feel my cheeks, my face tingling from smiling so much already, and I feel a lot of bubbly sensation in my belly right now. I'm staying with my friend Dina here in Hawaii, and she's just leaving right now. So if you hear a car starting, then that's her going away. So welcome, finally welcome to the 3 stages of embodied awakening: love, bliss, and freedom, no matter the circumstances. And the subtitle that I put to this is also bye-bye emotional roller coaster and hello cruising in bliss. And so this title came to me also because this has been my experience in the last few months. So just to give you a little bit of a background story, I've had quite a rough life in many ways. Like, I keep on getting messages from people asking me about this and wondering if I have just always been happy and free and confident and all of these things. And the answer is definitely no. For most of my life, I was struggling with extremely low self-esteem. I had some traumatic experiences in my childhood. Maybe I'll share some more about that in a different webinar, but suffice to say that I had my fair share of trauma and sexual trauma to heal in my life. And I also spent many years moving in between joy and depression, feeling very suicidal for many years, trying to kill myself a number of times in my teenage years, and having a number of experiences of opening, of dropping into a space of oneness and different layers of awakening. And what I can now see as more or less the final layer dropped away a couple of months ago, when I had a really intense experience in relationships. And the experience was that through what was happening in the outer circumstances and the way my mind and the way my emotions responded to that, it came to a point where for a few weeks, the voices of the mind and the emotions and everything was so strong and so chaotic and so intense. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, my body was shaking in shock through the night. There were a lot of things happening in my system. And at the same time, there was this growing sense of something, even in the midst of the most chaotic emotional turmoil, there was a growing sense of something essentially being free from all of that. And this something was something that I had had glimpses of many, many times. First time was when I was about 17, when I had like a temporary awakening experience. And so a couple of months ago, what happened was that in seeing the different voices of the mind come in and wanting me to believe and buy into their story, and the different perspectives about what was happening come and go, in seeing that there were so many different ways of feeling about the event, about the circumstance, so many different perspectives coming and going, and in noticing the perspectives coming and going, but that I remained throughout, that I didn't come in and out of existence together with the emotional shifts. Somewhere there was recognition that I am essentially free from all of this, and that who I am and what I am is the open awareness in the open presence that is witnessing and allowing all of the experiences. And this is the place or the aspect of us that is always free, that is always boundless, that is always here no matter what. And let me just check in that you're still here, seeing. Okay, cool. So hopefully you're still seeing. Okay, just taking a moment just to check in with the chat that you can still see. So if you're experiencing any kind of problems, then please just refresh. Okay, let me just see, just a moment. Refresh if you have any audio or video. Okay, great. So let's see. Okay, so can you still hear and see me? Just checking this. Okay, guys. Just having a small break. Okay, great. Yes. Okay, awesome. Great. So wonderful. So that was just a small intermission. I will continue in a moment. I just wanted to check in that you can see. So we're rolling. Most people can see. And yes, the ladies. Okay, wonderful. Great. Deepika, try and refresh. Okay, great. So we're going to continue. So, okay, wonderful. So yes, so a shift that happened for me a couple of months ago was an experience of going from being locked in and identified as the emotions, as the life story, as all the stuff that is happening in the personality, to somehow there was a shift that happened and I found myself, the only way I can explain it right now is I find myself just dropping into being open space, more or less. And there is still a human operating here. There are still emotions and there are still things coming up within this, but it's all arising within this openness and within this spaciousness. And so having gone from having experienced more or less 29 years of emotional ups and downs and being very much at the mercy of my emotions and sometimes being able to transcend them or push them away or just ride that wave, to just being free from all of that. And so what has been abiding for the last few months now since that shift is a bliss that is constant. And even though life has continued to be quite intense in many ways, it just, there's nothing that can be identified with anymore. There's nothing that can be held on to anymore. And it feels like the fear and the contraction and the ups and downs and all of that has just left. So yes, ladies, I'm feeling so much love here as well. Okay, so I'm just checking in the chat momentarily, not to be too distracted by it, but just checking in so that most of you can still hear and see. So it seems like most of you are on board and some of you are having issues, but we're going to keep on going. And for all of those of you who cannot see right now, then you'll watch the replay later. Okay, so we are going to move into, so I'm just going to switch over to sharing my screen with you guys. Just a second. Let's see. Okay, cool. I'm gonna just switch into screen sharing. Okay. Okay, so just checking if you can see the screen right now. I'm screen sharing. Yes, love the open awareness. Okay, so can you see the slides? Just checking. Okay, awesome. It's not PowerPoint, but yeah, keynote. Okay, so we're moving on. So 3 stages of embodied awakening: love, bliss, and freedom, no matter the circumstance. So the agenda for today, we have already had the intro, welcome, and meditation. Then moving into the 3 stages of embodied awakening, then I'll guide you into 4 gateway tools into open awareness. And then we'll have some gifts and some bonuses, and then move into live Q&A. And for the live Q&A, you'll both be able to hopefully ask questions in the chat, as well as come on live if you have a webcam and you're logged in with your Google account. And I'll guide you into that if you want to come on live when we come to that place. So that's very exciting. Okay, so the 3 stages, the way I have identified them, and this is something that different people speak about in different ways. This is also close to both what Adyashanti and also Toby Sebastian, my ex-husband, speaks about. So the 3 stages, the way I have found them to be the most useful, are: the first stage is the mind awakening, which is when the person wakes up as awareness. Then we have the heart awakening, which is an experience of awakening to or dissolving into unity or love. And then we have the level of the body, which is the clearing out process. So this is the fire of awakening, clearing out the contracted personality structures to reveal the totally open and embodied presence of being through a human interface. And so if that last bit is a bit cryptic or unclear, then it will become clear, hopefully, as we go through this presentation. So different qualities of the 3 stages, and there are a lot of different words that could be pointed to this, and essentially it cannot really be described, but these words seem to have somewhat of an accuracy in pointing to the experience of this. So the first stage of awakening feels very much like an emptiness, like opening into space, and there's a quality of absence there. Second stage of the heart feels like feeling everything as one consciousness, and there's a presence and an aliveness there. And then the third stage, when the clearing out process has happened and it has become more integrated, then it's a quality of abiding, integrated, clear, embodied, unique human expression and aliveness in that. Okay, so I'm going to come back on video and begin to speak on this. Okay, so checking if you can see me on video again. Okay, cool, great. So we're continuing. So first of all, I just want to say, when we are talking about, okay, great, you can see me, awesome. So when we are talking about enlightenment or awakening, there are so many different ideas that we can have about that, and so many different connotations and projections that people have. And also, I used to have ideas that enlightenment means that then you can walk through walls, you can walk through water, you can perform all these miracles and those kind of things, or what actually does not really have anything to do with awakening to our true nature. So the way I would define enlightenment or awakening is simply waking up to the truth of who we are, which is essentially limitless, which is beyond the mind, beyond the body, before any of this was even here. And it's waking up to that part of us that can never die, that was here before the body came into being, that will be here when the body falls away and goes back into the earth, and that has been here, present throughout everything that happens in our entire life. And we can have the ideas about enlightenment or awakening, meaning that we are in a constant state of joy, or a constant state of peace, or a constant state of some kind of state that just remains the same throughout our life. And on the level of emotions, that is not actually true, because any state that we can experience, joy, peace, bliss, all of these things, are states that come and go. And anything that comes and then goes is not actually it. So that includes our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings, our body. Anything that comes and goes, anything that can be removed and we still exist, is not it. So what cannot be removed is the awareness, is the presence, the consciousness that is the truth of our being, that is always here, that is always free. And so in a way, a very simple way of describing what we are looking for when we are searching for enlightenment or awakening, is that we are looking for that which is looking. So enlightenment or awakening is actually a lot simpler and a lot easier than most teachers have made it out to be, because it's not about finding a state of peace or a state of joy or a state of anything. It's simply turning the awareness back onto awareness itself and recognizing that. And when that recognition deeply and truly happens, then it's like this bubble that just pops itself and it's there. And so we can have glimpses of awakening in different ways. And many of you might actually be rested more or less in an abiding awakening, in an abiding awakened state. But many of us have also had glimpses of being in a space that is beyond thought, that is before the mind, that is beyond anything that happens. It can be in the midst of an experience of emotional chaos. Some people have it when they have a near-death experience, or when they are faced with a great challenge, that somehow in the midst of everything that is happening, something just becomes completely still. In a way, it's like being free in the midst of chaos, in the midst of being imprisoned, that there's something that is essentially free no matter what happens. So we are looking for that awareness that is always, always here. And some of you have recognized this already, I know, because I know some of you who are on this call. I know that this recognition has happened for quite a few of you already, so it's not something exclusive, it's not something super special. And for some of you, this might be something you have never experienced, or something that is coming and going in fleeting moments, but you are here because you have a longing to experience that more and more, and rightly so, because this is really, when we wake up to this is when freedom really just settles in a way that cannot be removed. Even if the body dies, even if something is threatening our physical existence, the freedom just stays here and is here to stay. Okay, so moving into the 3 stages. So the first stage of awakening on the level of the mind is something that is very common in non-duality circles. So this is something that I mentioned in the interview with Bentinho, that a lot of you have seen, that we posted last week or so, which is when people have had awakening only at the level of the mind, there has been a realization that goes something like waking up from being identified as a small separate self to waking up to feeling oneself as open space or open awareness. And what is usually the case if a person has only had the level of the mind awakening happening is that there's a feeling of an absence, or a feeling of I don't exist, I'm not here. And if it stays there, then sometimes what can happen is that the separate self structure rebuilds a new identity called there is no me. It's almost like the ego, if we use the E word, it's almost like the ego relocates into a new identity called there is no me. And that's a safe place to hide. So if you meet someone who has had the awakening on the level of the mind, and you try to engage with them on an emotional level, very often there will be a sense of avoidance, a sense of hiding, a sense of not wanting to face the human stuff anymore, because the personality has found a safe place to hide, which is in absence, which is in a state of non-existence, if that makes sense. It's just checking if that makes sense to you so far, and if not, then we can open up for questions at the end. So in other words, person waking up as awareness, and if it stays on the level of the mind, very often you'll have a person who is just trying to stay as infinity and trying to stay as open awareness to avoid feeling the emotions. And that is a beautiful awakening. However, it is partial. Okay, yes, the E word, okay. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the ego because it implies something negative. It's just that the separate self structure is, I would say, if I would define the ego as anything, I'd say that it's simply the part of us that is somewhat based in fear and that believes itself to be separate from the rest of existence. So we can have a lot of compassion for the ego as well. Okay, so if we move into the level of the heart, then this is something that is more common in Tantra circles. And I know that there are a lot of people who are into Tantra on this call as well, so you might recognize yourself in this, but this you see mostly in Tantra circles, where there has been at least a partial awakening of the heart, which means that there is usually a beautiful feeling of love and openness, and there's usually a lot of energetic openness as well. So this might be a person who has done a lot of energy work in healing the trauma of the body, of releasing tension from the body and becoming more free and open and flowing and able to move energy and so on. And so what you hear these kind of people often say is that, oh, it's all just love and everything is love, and I just love everyone and everything, and there is such a beauty in that, and there's such sweetness in that. However, what often happens, if the mind awakening hasn't happened yet, is that there's still very much a feeling of being a separate person with an attachment to outcome, and like being a separate person who wants to experience more love to compensate for a fundamental sense of loneliness or lack or emptiness, or wanting to advance through the levels of tantra to compensate for a feeling of emptiness or unhappiness of some kind, or wanting to experience deeper orgasm, or wanting to experience more joy, or the next high, or the next experience of bliss, or the next bigger, more intoxicating, more exciting, whatever it is. And if a person has had that more heart awakening and opening into a sense of love, but there's still a strong identification with a separate self, then there's always an underlying feeling of dissatisfaction. If a person like that stops having the amazing experiences, or the amazing orgasms, or the amazing experiences on the dance floor and workshops, etc., then there is still a feeling of fundamentally being unfulfilled. And so the way it really comes together fully is when there both has been a seeing through the illusion of the separate self. I'm not saying illusion of self in the sense of we are still here in these human bodies, and there is a realness to this. As far as the dream goes, there is a realness and a beauty to this, but I'm talking about seeing through the illusion of being separate, seeing through the illusion of being a separate self that can somehow be threatened, that can somehow experience lack in any kind of way. So when the illusion of that has been seen through, as well as there has been the allowing of that entering deeper into the heart, so that the heart can wake up into love, then we have more of a full embodied awakening. And this leads us into the third stage, which is a bit more subtle and a bit more difficult to explain sometimes, which I presently experience as a kind of fire of awakening that is burning through. And what this means, the easiest way, I think, to explain this is that many people have the idea of that once you wake up, then you are perfect. Once you wake up, then there's no stuff or no triggers and nothing coming up anymore. And in my experience, and in talking with people who have had this experience as well, what seems to be truer is that emotions can still arise, and triggers can still come up, and patterns from the personality can still come up. It's just that none of that is identified with anymore. So nothing is identified with anymore. So when an emotion comes up, then it is welcomed, it is embraced, and it is felt, and it is loved and let go of pretty quickly. So there's an openness and a flow there. And what I experience as well is that whenever there is a contraction coming up, or a fixed point of view, or something that is wanting to be identified with, so this can be seen as just residual self-identification, then rather than it being held onto, it is burned through and purified. So it's a clearing out process. So in a way, it's like the mind and the heart awakens, and then the body takes a bit longer usually to just integrate and to level out with. So in a way, there's the realization and the expansion into love and into awareness, and then there's a clearing out process of the personality structure and the self-identity. And this process of clearing out and of burning through and letting go depending on how much release work has already been done, depending on how much a person has already worked with emotional clearing or yoga or tantra or breath work or opening the body, depending on how much therapy perhaps has been done before, this process can last anything from a few weeks to a few months to a number of years. And for most people, it seems to be a number of years. And this is a place where a lot of people get stuck, because you might have had the idea that once you wake up, then you're done. And that's it, and nothing will ever come up again. So if you've had an awakening and an experience of opening into presence, opening into awareness, and then emotions begin to arise, you might be fooled to think that that means that you have not actually awakened, that you've lost it. But it's actually just a residual clearing out process that happens. But if we can surrender to it, and it's kind of funny to say if, because once the plug has really been pulled, you cannot do anything else but to surrender to it. If we can surrender to this process, then what is the result is that the human part of us becomes clearer and more open and more loving and more transparent to our higher self, more and more transparent to open awareness, more and more transparent to presence. So an example of this is that in the last few weeks or in the last month or so, there have been some things coming up, which was, you can say, residue from my last relationship, some things we still needed to clear out. And so he was expressing this to me about things that he had not been expressing during our relationship. And he was expressing things that previously I would have taken very personally. And previously I would have felt very attacked, and the need to defend would have come up in response to this. And now the experience is more just that he can express whatever he feels, and I can just receive that and feel the love and the compassion and the clarity of that and the total hearing of that. But there's nothing that needs to be defended anymore. So it's just seen as, wow, this is coming up now, great. This is just another opportunity to become even more clear, to become even more open, to let go of yet another layer so that even more space and presence and love can shine through. So if you're in the process of this, then just please have trust that this is all part of the perfection. It's all part of the perfection. It's all just a part of the process of getting even more clear, becoming even more transparent to awareness to shine through. Okay, cool. Fine-tuning, exactly. Yes, this experience is familiar. So I'm just going back to the chat to see. Okay, great. So any responses at any point are welcome. If you have a question that you want to save for the end, I just want to say this, then you can mark it as a question. So next to the chat box, you see that you can either mark it just as a message, or you can mark it red as a question, and then all the questions will pile up and gather to the end, and I'll go back and answer them towards the end. And also, if you have any questions live, then you can just ask them later. Okay, so this brings us to the question, so how do you know if somebody has had more or less the full embodied awakening? And the simplest way that I can say this is that you can taste it, you can feel it. There is a resonance and a flavor there that is palpable, that you can feel, that you can resonate with. And usually in being in the presence of someone who has awakened in this way, you'll begin to vibrate on that frequency as well if you are close enough to that. So if somebody has had a partial awakening, you'll usually feel some form of avoidance. If there's a mind awakening, you'll feel an absence and like a feeling of a person waking up from person to infinity and wanting to stay there, to avoid dealing with the human life, to avoid dealing with the human interaction of emotions, of the beauty and the love and everything that comes with the human experience. And if a person has had only the heart awakening, so to speak, then there's a feeling of trying to plaster things over and making things all loving to avoid feeling a sense of still being a separate self And when the two come together, then there is a deep feeling of peace and a deep feeling of silence there, as well as usually a great warm-heartedness and open-heartedness and a feeling of loving acceptance there. And yes, there's still a personality there, but if something comes up, if a contraction comes up or something that is wanting to be dissolved and released into the free flow of life energy, then there's a total acceptance of that. So yes, emotions can still happen, the personality can still be there, there can still be the playfulness and the enjoyment and the sensuality and the silly jokes and whatever comes, whatever was there in the personality before, but it's taken very lightly, it's not identified with. And yes, there can still be desires. Right now I'm experiencing a lot of desires moving through, which also seems to be a big part of the function of being a human, that infinity can experience itself through us. It's waking up from person into infinity, and then from infinity coming back into life and back into creation, back into creativity. And my experience is that creativity and inspiration can actually flow even more fully when awakening has happened, because there's no gatekeeper holding anything back, and there's no fear that is putting the foot on the brake for anything. So in the process of this, we can start to see how fear has been like this dual push-pull mechanism. So to explain this, and you can start to see, I'll just give one example from my own life, and then you can start to see maybe how this applies to your life, about the dual push-pull of fear, which is an important component to start to see in this, is that before this shift happened for me, I used to have a lot of fear as a driving force, like, oh, I should be making videos, or I should be writing articles, or I should be doing webinars, I should be doing all these things, because otherwise something bad will happen, or a lack will happen of some kind. Like, I should be doing this because it's good for my business, and if I don't do it, then I will fail in this way. So that was the driving force of fear. Or it can be going to a party for fear of missing out, or going and doing something for fear of, preventing something bad from happening. So fear as a driving force is one aspect, and then fear as pulling back is also the simultaneous. If I take the videos in the marketing, for example, there will be the simultaneous driving force of fear and the simultaneous fear of what are people going to think, and what if it's not good enough, and what if I don't come up with anything to say, or what if people judge me, or what if this and that would hold me back previously. So it would be a lot of struggle and a lot of energy wasted in this. And now what I'm experiencing is that there is no fear as a driving force, and there is no fear holding anything back either. So now what is happening is that there is an impulse for an inspiration, which is like spirit or higher self just saying, hey, this wants to come through you right now, this wants to be created, and there's nothing stopping it, which means that creativity and inspiration and creation happens very fast and without much pre-thought, without any effort, without any pre-planning necessarily. It's just following the inspiration and letting that come through. And so right now, for example, with this webinar, previously with the issues we had with the audio and video in the beginning, that would have been quite devastating, quite embarrassing. And now it's just like, oh, so that's how life happened now. That's all good. That's all fine. And we'll just make the best out of the situation and roll with it. So there's a total trust in the perfection of the unfolding here. And also right now I'm in the joyous process of creating and building the Sensual Yogini Online Academy. And I have a lot of inspiration and so much dedication and so much passion for it. And then at the same time, essentially, I don't really mind. Like, if the whole thing would crash tomorrow, there will probably be some emotions coming up around that, but I don't essentially give a fuck. So there's the freedom and the inspiration together, and then creativity can happen very easily and very effortlessly. Okay, so I'm seeing out of the corner of my eye, a couple of questions. And I'm going to go back to them at the end. There's just one question that I'm seeing right now that I do want to answer because it's really relevant to what we are talking about right now. Is, let's see what your name is. Kylene is saying, how did you let go? How did you let all of that fear go? How did you push through the fear? I didn't. There was no pushing. It was just, God. Okay, this is where words fall short a bit. It's a little bit difficult to explain exactly the mechanisms of what happened, but I'll do my best because I know that that's how it can become the most useful for you as well. God, I heard once a talk with Adyashanti when he was saying, and I don't even think it was him saying it for the first time, just that awakening or enlightenment usually happens by accident, but certain things can make you more accident prone. And so I'm also going to guide you into 4 different gateway tools into open awareness that will greatly help for this in just a moment. But just to see, how did this accident of awakening happen? How did the fear let go? It was a simple recognition of noticing that even in the midst of the mind going crazy, even in the midst of things being so chaotic in my life, even in the midst of, well, just to give you some more detail, this was an experience just after my husband had left. He had just left and very quickly moved in with another woman. So it was like this feeling of losing everything, of losing my soulmate, and feeling like the worst thing I could imagine was currently happening. And there were different perspectives coming up around this being terrible, around this being the worst thing that I could ever imagine, around it was a perspective of like the dream had turned into a nightmare, etc. And then there was a perspective of that this is an opportunity for growth, this is all beautiful, this is bringing more openness, this is cracking me open so that more love can be let in, etc. So that was like a slightly better feeling perspective. And then there was a perspective of, oh my God, this is so exciting, this is life making space for the next upgrade. I know from experience that when perceived loss happens, when there's the experience of perceived loss, pretty much every single time it is life making space for the next upgrade. So tuning into the possibility of life becoming even more amazing brought so much excitement I could barely handle it. And I kept on shifting between these 3 different perspectives, of this being a tragedy, of this being an opportunity for growth, or of this being the most amazing and perfect thing that could have ever happened. And just in recognizing that all these different emotions and all these different perspectives came and went, the awareness of what was aware of that began to grow. And it grew and it grew and it grew, and at some point it just switched and the shift happened. Hopefully that's a clear explanation, but it was not about letting go of fear or pushing through the fear, but it was a simple recognition of that even in the midst of the most intense fear, there is something not afraid. There is something here aware of the fear. There is something here aware of the sadness. There is something here aware of the mind going crazy. There is something here aware of the body shaking and feeling nauseous. There's something here aware of everything that is happening. And the more that expanded, at a certain point, it just shifted, and beingness and awareness relocated into that openness. So yes, so fear can still, arise, but usually it cannot stick around for more than a few seconds. And I've had some experiences in the last couple of weeks that would normally have triggered huge amounts of fear, and I could just watch the fear come in and stay for about 3 seconds and then just leave because it's seen and not identified with. And one of the key realizations that helped me to see through this is the simple recognition that everything in life is just one perfect movement of the whole, and who we essentially are can never die and can never ever lack anything, because who we are is connected to infinity. Who we are is connected to all of life, and from all of life and from infinity, nothing can possibly ever be lacking. So whenever we believe in lack in any way, we are buying into something that isn't true. We're holding a perspective that simply isn't aligned with truth. So this may be a logical, intellectual understanding for you at this point, or it may be a realization, but when you really realize that who we are, who you are, who we all are, is connected to all of life and all of infinity, and thus is ever abundant and ever connected and cannot possibly die, cannot possibly be lacking anything, then when an experience of sadness or fear or anything like that arises, then that can be welcomed from a place of openness, from a place of abundance, from a place of trust and restedness in being. Okay, and so some of you might have this realization during this webinar training. Some of you have had it already, some of you will have it in the coming time. If you want to have deeper guidance in this, because I simply cannot. Right now we have just under 100 people on the call. There are a couple of hundred people registered who will watch. I simply cannot go into one-on-one interaction with all of you, but if you want to, you can always come for a one-on-one session. And I'll speak a bit more about that later when we come to the gifts and the bonuses and the offers, how you can do that very easily. So that's just something that I put out there, that's available as well. And I have benefited so much from having coaching and guidance from people who are already in this awakened space as a transmission and as a guide for that. Okay, so we'll come back to more questions later. Right now, I'm going to move into your 4 gateway tools into open awareness. I'm just going to share my screen with you for a moment here. Okay, so your 4 gateway tools into open awareness. The first one is recognizing or resting as awareness. The second one is the limitless meditation. The third one is the shaking practice. And the fourth one is what I call pulling the matrix plug on reality. Okay, so let me come back on video. And so the first one is the simplest and the easiest one. And this is something that different teachers have been teaching for a long time. It is very prevalent in the balanced view teaching. Bentinho Masaru uses this one a lot, and other teachers as well. And this is one of my absolute favorite gateway tools because it's so simple. It is so simple and it is so profound. So recognizing or resting as awareness simply means for a few seconds, for 2, 3, 4, or 5 seconds, or even just 1 second, having a moment of turning your attention away from whatever content is showing up, whether it's thoughts or emotions or anything that is happening in your environment, and turning your awareness back into awareness itself. So recognizing for just a moment, I am aware, or I exist. That there's a quality of existence that is here, that is always here no matter what happens. So it might be that you're able to just stop thinking for a couple of seconds and find a gap where you become aware of something that is before thought, that is before emotion, that is aware of everything that is happening, but is essentially untouched by the appearances. And this gap might become bigger and bigger. Eventually you might have hours or days or even longer periods with no thoughts. Maybe it's just for a couple of seconds. But even if thoughts are happening, even as you do this, even if emotions still are happening as you do this, that's totally fine. Simply, rather than trying to stop thoughts, bring your awareness into the space in which the thoughts are arising, in which the thoughts are happening. And the reason why this tool is so powerful is that because very few people, actually more and more people, but very few people usually are able to stop the thought process for hours or for days or for weeks. However, pretty much everyone is able to do it for a moment. Can you feel this? Just that gap, that tiny gap of that which is before thought, before any appearance, that is like the keyhole, that is like the gateway into this open awareness. Short moments of simply resting as awareness. In the midst of fighting with your partner, having a moment of just resting. Just watching all of the things that are happening, all of the thoughts, everything that is coming and going, and resting open. First thing in the morning, waking up, looking around the room and resting as awareness. Just noticing, I've woken up, it's a new day, and there's something here that is aware. In the midst of walking through town, having a moment and just opening, resting as awareness. And these gaps gradually will begin to seep in more and more and more and more and more, until gradually or suddenly a shift happens, and more or less permanently there is recognition of awareness as your foundation for being. Okay, let's see. Cool. Yes, Mark says fear is excitement filtered through a belief of lack. Yeah, right on, man. That's totally true. Exactly. If there's no belief in lack of any kind, then it's just excitement, and fear just simply cannot stay. And if it does, it comes up and it's like, I believed in lack for a few moments. How silly. And then it goes away, which is pretty cool. So short moments of recognition, of resting and recognizing awareness. Another way of doing this, especially if you're experiencing that there is little or no gap in your thoughts, is to ask yourself the question, I wonder what my next thought will be. And then become really alert and really awake and just watch for the next thought. I wonder what my next thought is going to be. And wait and see what comes. And it's kind of a trick question, but when you ask the question, I wonder what my next thought is going to be, and you immediately shift into a state of open, wakeful, curious waiting, in that space of openness and awareness and presence, very often it will take a while before the next thought comes in, and that is your gateway into the gap. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay, cool. So the next tool is the Limitless meditation, which is a way to move through the body and through the senses into that which is beyond or before the body. And I'm going to give you a link towards the end or a bit later, where you can get a recording of the Limitless meditation in 2 different versions, which is with more kind of HD sound and with really nice music in the background. So just sit tight for that, or if you have to leave early, then just come back to the replay, because I'll give you the link to a recording of the Limitless meditation. But we'll just do a short version of this right now. So wherever you are, you can either close your eyes or just keep your gaze soft. And ideally, unless you're in a place where you really can't close your eyes, then close your eyes. And Once again, allow a few deep breaths to enter your body. So far in this live stream, in this love stream, we've had a lot of talking. We had some issues in the beginning with some audio and sound. There's been a lot of information. So this is also like a reset moment of letting all of this settle into your being and settling into your body. So with the breath, bring your awareness from the mind and into your body. And then allow a few deep breaths where you breathe into your whole body at once, as if you're breathing into every single cell. So yes, I know that our lungs do not go that far, but we can still have the feeling of breathing with our entire body. So breathing in and out of every cell, expanding with the in-breath and relaxing with the out-breath. Expanding with the in-breath, relaxing with the out-breath. Breathing into your bones, breathing into your skin. Breathing into your whole body. So if you're not doing this yet, if you still have your eyes open, then just close your eyes and drop into this, because this is it. This is where it's happening. Breathing with your whole body. And as you are sitting here, as you're breathing with your whole body and with every cell, become aware of the simultaneous stillness and movement that is happening in this moment. There's a stillness and a presence and an awareness here, and simultaneously there's constant movement. So your blood is flowing around your body like a river, and your heart is dancing and pulsing in your chest. Synapses are firing in your brain millions and billions of times per second. Constant movement. And cells are replicating, dying. Different aspects of your DNA being switched on and off. So constant movement on the level of energy, and at the same time total stillness. And even before the level of the body, even before anything that can be seen or touched as manifest physical form, is the pure life energy. Just the pure aliveness, the pure vibration of aliveness that we are all made of, that everything is made of. So as you continue breathing deeply, become aware of this underlying humming, this underlying vibration of aliveness, of life energy that is in, as, and through you, as well as in, as, and through everything. And with this awareness of this vibration, begin to breathe and feel outwards, feel into the air around you, feel into the space around you, feel into the sounds around the space. Just include a vaster field in your awareness. All of this is life energy vibrating. And just checking how far outwards you can feel. Are there any boundaries to this? Is there suddenly the case of you hitting a wall and then you cannot feel further? Or could you potentially extend your awareness into infinity, all across the earth and all out through space. So this life energy, this vibration, this aliveness is completely boundless. It's where we're all connected. It's all just one vibration in different frequencies, different forms, one consciousness. And then when you're ready, gently, slowly open your eyes while remaining in this awareness. And as you open your eyes and you either bring your eyes back to your computer or your phone or your iPad, or looking around the room, or looking around where you're sitting, rather than labeling things as things or as separate objects, see if you can just have the quality of gaze as seeing everything as just one field of consciousness. It's just pure life energy manifesting as different colors and lights and shapes. And this includes also your body. So even this body that you carry around with you is also made up of pure life energy, made up of pure consciousness. And there is no boundary to any of this, even though to our human eyes, we may seem like separate entities. It's just all one field, manifest in an infinity of forms. So this is a little taste of the Limitless meditation, and you'll receive a guided practice with this as well. And this brings us into, so feel free to comment in the chat if you can feel this, and also if anything has shifted in the way you see the colors, in the way you see the images appearing on the screen, the sounds from this broadcast as well as around you. Something happens when we begin to see everything as one field of consciousness. The mind becomes quiet. The body relaxes. Yes. Okay, so this brings us to the third gateway tool, which is the shaking practice. I'm not going to mention this so much more here. I'm going to give you a link a bit later. And again, if you need to go early, just go back to the replay. I'll give you a link a bit later to a video as well as audio guided shaking practice. The shaking practice is a way of moving the body that really helps with the third stage of awakening, which is the clearing out of the human as well as opening the heart. So the shaking practice is a movement meditation, which is bringing the body into a state of vibration and shaking, which helps to really empty the mind. Gabrielle Roth, who founded the 5 Rhythms dance, she was famous for saying that the best way to still the mind is to move the body. And I have found that the best way to still the mind through moving the body is through shaking. And shaking is a super, super simple and yet exquisitely profound practice that can bring so much inspiration and so much openness. I usually have all my best ideas and inspiration and downloads while shaking. So shaking is a really great way to awaken life energy, to empty the mind, to just free up the human, to open the voice, to access hidden reservoirs of life energy and aliveness. And so if you're interested in that, then just go to the link that I'll give in just a little bit. And you can get some really amazing, really pumping music that you can do this to, as well as more information about how to do this in a guided video with that. And so shaking is something that is just so incredibly powerful, especially if you're experiencing that your mind is just never ending, that your thought process is constant. And the shaking can really help to move into the body in a way that the mind becomes quiet, open, spacious, and ready to receive the genius of your higher self. So that's the third gateway tool. And the fourth one, moving on to the last one, is pulling the matrix plug on reality. So pulling the matrix plug on reality is very linked to the first one, which is resting as awareness, recognizing presence. And that is that in any moment, and this you can bring with you from this moment on, in the coming weeks, in the coming months, and for the rest of your life, is until it becomes permanent. In any moment, whatever is happening, bring your awareness from content into the open awareness and into the open presence that is experiencing the content. The content is emotions, thoughts, appearances, somebody yelling at you, a traffic jam, being late for work, whatever it is, having to pay bills. Bring your awareness from the content of what is appearing into open awareness. That's a moment of recognition, a moment of resting as awareness. And from that place, just seeing everything as presence, seeing everything as the same field of consciousness. So, you know, in the matrix, when you have reality as we normally see it, and then it just breaks down into all these green numbers and digits and symbols, it's kind of like that, going from seeing everything as whatever forms and labels we're used to, into seeing it simply as an appearance of consciousness and recognizing that. And that gradually or suddenly creates more and more and more spaciousness and connectedness. So those are our 4 gateway tools. Yes, Miriam says, I love shaking. Magali says, I love shaking. It works. Yes, Crystal says, more peace, more breath. Certainly, certainly. Okay, so Nax says, hi Rania, thank you for your presence. I was expecting to hear you speak about awakening to your light body or higher self, change in DNA, rediscovering of abilities such as telepathy, seeing auras and such. Could you elaborate on how they relate to awakening or why you choose not to speak about it? Okay, so let me just go through this very quickly. So different human interfaces, different people have different innate abilities. Some people can see auras, some people can see light bodies, some people are more connected to telepathy, some people can communicate with angels or light beings or other forms of consciousness from other dimensions or other densities. It doesn't seem to be relevant for most people to have those abilities, so to speak. What I signify as awakening is simply waking up to the limitless, boundless, open freedom, which is the truth of who we are. And that is available for anyone. Another teacher, an Australian woman, another enlightenment teacher, she defines enlightenment simply as the end of fear. And I would say that's pretty accurate too. This is just simply moving from being identified as a separate self into being rested as open presence and open awareness and in connection and unity with all of life, which is the experience of openness and love, and living from that place. And then whatever comes from that will be relevant to whatever is relevant to our theme as a human in this lifetime. So for some people, that means telepathy. For some people, that means being able to restructure and change DNA. For some people, that means clairvoyance. And they are not necessarily related. There are many, many people who can see auras, for example, who are not necessarily awake, who are still experiencing a lot of fear, a lot of contraction. They can see auras, but they're still very much identified with being a separate self, being able to see auras and being very cool because they can see something that other people can't. So all these amazing abilities that you refer to, they can come as a byproduct of waking up. They can also happen independent from those experiences, and they are not necessarily related. Because awakening simply means waking up to the awareness that is always here. So in a way, the awareness of being able to see aura, so the awareness of being able to restructure DNA, etc. So that's why I'm not really going into that, because it's not relevant for most people. And what's relevant for most people is simply letting go of the fear and the sense of being a separate self, so that we can just live as inspired, powerful, empowered, connected, free and loving creative beings in this life. So that is why. Okay, cool. Okay, so that is all what we have for this right now. So I'm going to move into just a few different gifts that I have, and I have a couple of gifts only for the women. So sorry guys for that. It's just because I work mostly with women, and then I have a couple of things also for the guys. So this is what I want to just tell you about now. So I mentioned earlier that I'm in the process of, well, not in the process because it's already up, but it's an ever expanding process. I have an online academy for women called the Sensual Yogini. And the Sensual Yogini Academy is in a way about all of life. It's both about waking up to our limitless nature and about the truth of who we are, as well as freeing up our body, becoming more orgasmic, as well as learning relationship skills, communication skills, how to attract nourishing relationships, and how to create expansive, empowered relationships, how to become a better lover, how to access our zone of genius and our creativity and our inspiration, how to become more heart-centered and open in business, etc. So it's really all around. And what I want to give to all the ladies here in the call is that you can access 1 month of the Sensual Yogini Academy for free. So I'm going to give you a link to that in just a moment. I'm just going to have to go over to the admin panel and bring it up. But in the first month of the Sensual Yogini Academy, so it's like a monthly ongoing course. So you get new practices every 2 weeks, or every month, or every week sometimes. And we also have bi-weekly live trainings with all the ladies, which is really fun as well. In the first month, which is what I want to give to you all, is a few different practices. The first one is called the Pussy Power Yoni Yoga workout. And that is a very intimate and juicy internal workout, which helps you to have a more strong, soft, supple, flexible, and orgasmic yoni. So yoni is the tantric word for vagina, for the women's intimate part, and it means sacred place. So a more powerful and soft and amazing intimate area, you can say. So just to not take too much time for all the guys here, I just want to mention a little bit about the benefits there. You get stronger vaginal muscles, you get a lot more life energy, you get a lot more pleasure, both for yourself and for your lover. There are also different inner ripple techniques that you can do, which is really great for creating dimensions of pleasure that most people haven't experienced. And from experience, I can say that when you do this with a lover, they will go like, "What are you doing? You know, I've never felt something like that before." So that's a really cool thing to learn, as well as it opens up just so much joy and life energy. The second practice in the first month is the Taoist sensual breast massage, which is something that helps for women to balance the hormonal system, to make the body start producing just all of these internal happiness hormones that we have naturally as women when we are feeling open and relaxed and happy. And the breast massage also makes our breasts both bigger and firmer, and they also produce a lot of oxytocin, which is a precursor to both female happiness hormones as well as female sexual hormones. So breast massage makes us feel a lot more alive and grounded in our bodies, and a lot more juicy and open for pleasure. And it also helps to alleviate heavy and painful periods. It can make the period a lot more light and a lot more easy and a lot more pain-free. So there are a lot of great benefits to that. And the third practice is the Inner Alchemy Core Channel meditation, which is different from the Limitless meditation. The Inner Alchemy Core Channel meditation is more on the level of connecting to the earth and to the sky, and plugging in vertically in a way that we can source our life energy and our aliveness from existence itself. And it's also a great way to sublimate and to open and expand life energy and sexual energy through your body. So all of these practices together just makes you as a woman very open, alive, receptive, sensual, orgasmic, and tingly and buzzing in many, many different ways. So this is something that I want to give away to all of you women who are here on the call, and this goes for all of you who are on the replay as well. I'm going to give you the link in just a moment. And then a second offer for the women. So a lot of you, I have seen quite a lot of names here on the call today of women who are already members of the Sensual Yogini Academy. So this goes for both existing members as well as new ones who want to join, is that you can also, and this is not officially up anywhere, you can only get this at this moment at least through this webinar, is that if you want, if you feel a resonance with me and my style and what I teach, because there are so many different teachers in the world teaching about feminine embodiment and about awakening and about all of this. So you basically just need to check in with which teacher makes you feel the most alive, which teacher lights you up. And so if you feel a resonance here, then if you feel that you want to keep on going and keep on expanding in this way, then I have just today opened up the option to get a year membership. And when you do that, then you get 3 months for free. So just to break it down, normally a year membership would be $588. And with this, you get 3 months for free, which is $147 discount. And also, for the first 10 women who join, who become the yearly members of the Sensual Yogini, you also get a one-on-one Skype coaching session in empowerment and awakening. And so the empowerment and awakening coaching can be anything that feels important to you, anything that might be holding you back in your life. And this is open for everyone, by the way, but for the first 10 women who wants to sign up as the year membership for the Sensual Yogini Academy, you get a session for free. And this can be about guiding you deeper into the awakened space, guiding you deeper into the space that is before the mind, that is before thought, that is free from fear, that is free from any kind of limitations. It can be more on the level of awakening. It can also be anything more about empowerment. It can be about business. It can be about accessing more of your creative genius and inspiration. And it can also be about sex, intimacy, and relationships. So last week, for example, I was coaching this woman about relationships, and essentially we debunked 7 years of relationship struggles in 45 minutes. So that's pretty cool. So if there's something that you keep on coming up against, then that can be a perfect thing to bring into a session. And I promise you that anything is possible to dissolve and to move through in this. So that is something for the women. And let me just bring up the two. Yes, Mark, she says, I will volunteer for that massage. That's fantastic. Great. So let me just bring up the two first things that I mentioned, which is for the women only. Guys, I'll get to you in just a moment. So okay. Okay, cool, guys. So let me know if you can see this. Here is the Sensual Yogini Online Academy 30-day free trial. So that's one that you can use if you want to join that. And I'll also put that into the chat as well so that you can see that. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, cool. So there is the free trial. I'm gonna just remove that in a few seconds and bring up the next one. So if you want to click on that one, just open it in the tab. You can check it out later, then you can do that now. Just 3, 2, 1, and I'm gonna load the next one. Okay, so that's a juicy picture, huh? So here is a link if you want to take advantage of the 3 months for free for the Sensual Yogini year membership. And if you're already a member of the Sensual Yogini and you want to switch to this, then if there are any issues, just email info@sensualyogini.com and someone from my team will take care of you and make sure that it's all flowing over smoothly so that you still have your membership access. But this is something that you can join whether you're an existing member of the Sensual Yogini Academy, or if you want to join first now, and you can go to sensualyogini.com if you want to read more about it. But if you feel the resonance and the yes for this, then you can just go straight to this offer. So that's basically 3 months out of a year for free, and for the first 10 women who join in this, then you also get a free one-on-one awakening and empowerment coaching session, which is pretty cool, because then we can really dig in deep and go into, we can transform quite a lot usually in 1 hour. So so that's a very powerful opportunity as well. So very welcome to join for that. Okay, I'm just going to leave that there. Let me just give you the link also in the chat so that you can see that. Just a second. Just a sec. Let's see. We have it here. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to put that link in the chat as well. There you go. Okay, so moving on to the guys. So actually for both men and women, So I already mentioned I want to give away to you the recording of the Limitless meditation, which is about, I think it's about a 15-minute meditation, and it's a beautiful guided meditation that really takes you deep into your body, which is perfect, especially if you're more of a mind awareness type person, to really go through the body into the space that is before the body, that is bigger than the body, and that is beyond thought, that is beyond any kind of boundaries. And this is something that you can use in addition to having these moments of just resting as open awareness. But it's something that I have found to be extremely powerful in just really anchoring this. And this is something you can do first thing in the morning or just before going to bed at night. So that's a beautiful one. And I also want to give you both a more guided video into the shaking meditation, which again can help you to move from the mind into the body into great reservoirs of inspiration and life energy. It can also make you actually more powerful as a lover and have you experience deeper orgasms. From experience, I can say it can definitely open up a lot of sexual energy as well, which is great for embodiment and empowerment. So I'm giving you also the guided video for that, as well as like a whole bunch of music, both just separate songs that are great for shaking to, as well as some really nice mixes that I have made for shaking, and some that we have also used sometimes in the parties in Club Light in Amsterdam, when we have been shaking with like a couple of 100 people at once. So that same mix I'm giving you as well. And that one I will just bring up. So I'm going to remove the Sensual Yogini offer in just a few seconds. So if you want to check that out, and if you want to join as a year member for the Sensual Yogini and get 3 months for free plus a free coaching session, then just open that in a new tab and you can come back to it. Well, you can either do it right away, right now, or you can come back to it afterwards, because I'm going to take that one away in just a few seconds and bring up the ones with the shaking music and the Limitless meditation. So joining a vibrant women's community and lots of cool practices and great tantric practices for women, and the Pussy Power Yoni Yoga workout and all that good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to remove that. 3, 2, 1, and go. And you still have the link in the chat there. Okay, guys, so this is for both men and women. So this all of you can open, just so that you can get that, because it's super valuable to have the meditation as well as the shaking music. So you can just open that one in a new tab. And there you can create, you'll be prompted to just fill in. I think you need to choose like email address and password because it's your personal login. But this is free and you can access it for the rest of your life. So just go there and then you get the meditation as well as the music and video for the shaking practice, which is really cool. So this is actually from month 2 of the Sensual Yogini Academy. There are a few more things in the Sensual Yogini Academy included in the month 2 that are not in here, but these are 2 different versions of the Limitless meditation as well as shaking music. So just go and get that now. And then last thing, so this is also for both men and women, is awakening and empowerment coaching. And so I have different options. You either get like 1 session or you can get a package of 4. And that you can get just any time on my website, just whenever you want. But just for you guys who are here today, so this will not be available on my website. It's not really time limited, but it is limited to 10 people just because I cannot have unlimited coaching clients simply because I don't have unlimited time. So the offer is for you guys here today, who are here on the webinar today live, as well as anyone who is watching the replay, as long as the 10 spaces are not gone, of course, because they might be by the time you click. That for the first 10 people, when you book a package of 4 coaching sessions, then you get a 5th one for free. So 4 sessions would normally be $440, and so I have a $55 discount, so $385, and you get an extra one for free. So basically 5 sessions for $385, which is cool and awesome. And that is just because I'm grateful that you've stuck around. If you stuck around for this long, then you are definitely worth an extra bonus in that way. So that is something that you can get, and I'm going to just take away this shaking music and limitless meditation in a moment. I'll send you this in a follow-up email afterwards as well, just a link to these different gifts and bonuses and offers, so that if anything is lost, then you can come back to it. I'm going to remove this limitless meditation now. And here, for 10 people, so this, guys, goes for you as well. And again, the empowerment and awakening session can be anything from stuckness in relationships to how to experience deeper orgasms, or how to become a better lover, or how to access this space, which is before thought, which is before anything that is limited to the personality. And I also have more specific processes for guiding you into this. So if you're one of the people who have been asking about how do we move through this, how do we move into this space, this feels very elusive to me, this feels like an impossibility, like, yeah, I hear you say this, it sounds really nice and good for you, but I'm not feeling it, then a one-on-one session can be really, really powerful for that. When the awakening shift happened for me, it was when I was alone. I was actually in the shower in the south of France, and then I went down to the ocean. But as a preparation for this, I have experienced a lot of opening in private sessions with people that I consider awake, with people that I consider more or less rested in the open awareness. So transmission and personal guidance is super, super powerful. So again, I have no attachment whatsoever to you coming for a session with me. It's just that if you feel a resonance with this human interface, then you are super welcome. There are also other amazing coaches and other amazing people who can guide you into this. So there is no pressure or preference. It's just whatever resonates for you. So if you feel a resonance or longing to dive deeper into this, then I'm super happy to be your guide for that. And this is available. So it's just an open invitation for you. And if not, then I wish you all the best and hope that you find someone else who can guide you in that, or just through life experience itself. Okay, so let me just show you a summary of these 4 different gifts and offers. So oops, let's see. Okay, there we go. I think you can all see this. This is just a summary here. So for women, we have a gift, which is the Sensual Yogini Online Academy 30 days for free. And there you can find that at sensualyogini.com/yes. And then we have the Sensual Yogini Year VIP membership, which you get 3 months for free, plus a free one-on-one awakening and empowerment session for the first 10 who book. And if I could, I'd give that to everyone, but it was just simply not be possible in terms of time. And that one you can find at members.sensualyogini.com/bliss. The shaking music and limitless meditation, I cannot display the link right now, but I'll send it to you in a follow-up email if you didn't click on it already. And then the awakening and empowerment, which is 4 sessions plus 1 free for the first 10 people. That offer you can see in the right sidebar, where you can just click on it. And all of these I'll just send you in a follow-up email as well. But I can see that people are already signing up for both the awakening and empowerment sessions, as well as the Sensual Yogini year membership. So if you want that, then I suggest just going for it now. And again, sessions are available always, but this 4 sessions plus 1 free is only for the first 10 men and women, for the first 10 people. And the Sensual Yogini year membership, you can join. There's no limit to that. But if you want to have a free coaching session together with that, then definitely come on as one of the first 10. And you'll get a confirmation after joining within 24 hours, letting you know if you were within the first 10. And if so, then you'll get information about how you can book a time for your one-on-one awakening and empowerment session. So hopefully that's all clear. You know, normally I would just have like 1 gift and 1 offer, but just because I know that there are mostly women on the call, but also quite a few men who have joined, I felt I need to have something for the guys as well. So there you go. The offer is open and out there. Okay, cool. So we still have a lot of people live with us. So, oh, that's so nice to hear. Oh, I'm just looking at the chat now, and yeah, just looking at the chat now and seeing yes, indeed, saying, it leaves me feeling joyful and spacious. Enjoy the magical island of Hawaii and send my love to Paley and the dolphins. Yes, well, definitely. Swim with dolphins one of these days. So we are moving into Q&A, and I'm going to just open and show you. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to just show you 1 second. If you want to come on live, and talk in the microphone and talk on video, then this is what you need to do. So if you want to speak live, then you need to click on attendees or on room, which is above the chat bar, and click on request to speak. And then you'll get this little pop-up asking you to just check that you have read and understood the information, that you're going to join a Hangout on Air, and click OK, got it, and then join. And just make sure that the icons are white so that you're not muted and your camera is on. Then you can come on and ask a question live, which is pretty cool. And in the meantime, while just seeing if anybody wants to come on live to speak, I'm going to go over to the chat and see what questions we have. So let's see. So Mia is asking, is it okay to say no to the Yogini Academy after 1 month without any costs? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Rosalie say, do I join the academy and then the first month is for free? Yeah, exactly. The first month is for free, and you can either email support and ask them to cancel, or you can do it yourself. You just, I think you just log into your account and click on cancel. So you can either stay a member, or you can just get your first month for free and then cancel. That's all up to you. That's all up to you. Okay. So I'm going to come back on video now and go over the questions. So Christopher is asking, when you feel your consciousness is too localized in your body, how do you expand/shift your consciousness to becoming more soft or spacious, especially when your body doesn't feel good? Yes. So in a way, I feel that I've answered this already through the shift into bringing awareness back to awareness itself. But let me see if I can clarify something here, because I feel that this is simply the shift that is the answer every single time. When you feel that your consciousness is too localized in your body, how to make it more spacious? Well, you could do something that would actually make your body feel better, such as shaking or breathing or doing yoga or taking a walk. You could do something that would open up the spaciousness in the body. But even in the midst of the body feeling not so great, or the body feeling contracted, even before having to shift anything, simply bring your awareness to that which is noticing the contractions in the body. That just the fact that you can recognize that, oh, my body is feeling contracted, or my body is not feeling so great, or my awareness is too localized in the body, that is exactly what we're talking about here. That is the awareness that you can bring your awareness back to. And this goes for any type of contraction. For example, if jealousy arises and it creates this feeling of contraction in your solar plexus, or a heavy contracted feeling in your belly, see if you can just create that little bit of a gap, a little bit of a distance, and not completely detach from it, but just open your awareness bigger than that, and notice the fact that you are noticing the contraction, the fact that you are noticing your body. And the more you do this, short moments every single day, the more this will become easier and easier and easier, and space will become more spacious in your experience in that. So let's see if that makes sense for you. But especially when your body doesn't feel good, that is actually the perfect moment. I had an experience just a few days ago, actually, or about a week ago, where I dislocated my knee. My kneecap popped out when I was on my way home from ecstatic dance in Amsterdam last week, and I could watch fear entering my body and the physical pain of that, and then just through seeing that fear is entering the body and there is physical pain, somehow the fear just stopped and the fear just went away, and I was able to put my knee back in place, and just like there was total chaos in the body, and there was a lot of emotions releasing and crying and shaking and a lot of things happening, and yet in the midst of that I recognize that there is this awareness is completely untouched by all of this. So I'm saying this just to anchor the fact that it really doesn't matter how the body is doing for awareness to be aware. You can never, ever, ever not be aware. Awareness is always here. Then on the level of human experience, on the level of the human interface, it can definitely help to relax the body, to dance, to shake, to breathe, to get a massage, all of these things. And simultaneously, you're not dancing or breathing or shaking or getting a massage to get away from something, but just because it feels good. Just because it feels, as far as the human body goes, it feels nicer to be relaxed and tense. It feels nicer to feel alive than to feel drained. It feels nicer probably to be out in nature and sit inside a factory all day, or to sit inside an office all day. So we can do all these things that feel good for the body and for the energy system. And whenever we remember to just bring our awareness to the fact that we exist, bring our awareness to awareness itself, bring our awareness to open, spacious consciousness itself. Okay, so Anneli says shaking makes sense. We're shaking as babies, and we shake our babies when they are restless and crying. Exactly, we kind of bounce the babies like this. And you see this in animals as well, that when an animal has been attacked or has experienced some kind of physical trauma, they start shaking. They start shaking their body. And this was what my body started doing the other week when I dislocated my knee. The body just started shaking. And the shaking movement is the body's way of releasing shock, of releasing trauma. So that's something that can happen spontaneously when our body's open. A lot of people are experiencing Kundalini awakening as well these days. And so the Kundalini energy is a way for the body to just free itself up. And it's also something we can consciously do and consciously bring in as a practice to free up stuckness in the body system. So I'm just checking here. So Chantal asks, when depression hits, lots of numbness in the body happens, and being with it feels like sinking further into the black hole of numbness. What to do? Because the mind is telling you not to do anything, but that only seems to make things work. So how to make this? That only seems to make things worse. How to handle depression? Okay, so about depression, there are a few different ways to go about this, depending on if you want to just rest in it or if you actually want to shift it. And sometimes resting in it can shift it automatically. So as with any emotion, as with any state, there is the emotion and the awareness of the emotion. There's the feeling state and the awareness of the feeling state. So depression is actually a perfect moment to see if you can have, through these short moments of recognition and short moments of resting open as awareness, just the awareness of that, okay, the body and the human is in a completely depressed state, is stuck in a state of depression right now, and yet awareness is free. Awareness is open. If it wasn't, you wouldn't be aware of the depression being there. So just recognizing that even in this moment, there is something here, there is some aspect of me, of my being, that is not depressed, but that is aware of the depression. And then from that place, again, if it only stays there, then we can have this feeling of being very detached. But from that place, see if you can bring in compassion from the place of awareness towards the sense of depression. Bring in compassion, bring in love. So can you love the part of you that is feeling depressed? Can you have compassion for the part of you that is feeling small and is feeling stuck? So this is what I mean when I say that emotions and feelings can still arise, but they are not pushed away because they're not identified with, but you can welcome them and love them. And in a way, it's like from higher self to smaller self, from expanded you into perceived separation experience you, saying, oh wow, you're feeling really depressed. Welcome, I can hold that for you. And so consciousness meeting experience, holding the space and loving whatever shows up. So for depression, I have found that love and compassion is huge and hugely powerful for actually shifting it. So can you love that? Can you love the part of you that is feeling small? Because it's not all of you. There is the awareness part, otherwise you wouldn't be aware of the depression. There is the awareness part of you, and there is the part of the personality that in that moment, or for those hours or weeks or months is feeling depressed, can you rest as the open awareness and hold the space for that and love that part of you without resisting it, without pushing away? There is such a beauty that happens when we don't try to change it, but just love whatever is there. Rather than trying to stop being insecure, just love the part of you that is feeling insecure. Rather than trying to stop feeling shy, just love the shyness. And in loving the shyness, or in loving the depression, or in loving the jealousy, or in loving the fear that arises, by default, automatically, you will relax open as that which is loving it, as opposed to being that. And also that there is a difference between allowing an emotion and drowning in it. So when you're talking about it feeling like going into a black hole and being pulled down with it, that's the quality of drowning in an emotion. So the distinction here is resting and relaxing open as bigger than the emotion, and from that place allowing it, as opposed to feeling locked in to that state and drowning in it. And this is a process that might happen for you instantly, or it might be something that takes a bit more time, but it is possible for everyone, I promise you. I have been in that state many, many, many times, of feeling depressed, of feeling suicidal, etc. But from that place, if we can relax open as the open presence and then love from that place, that's when the transformation can happen. So I'm going to go back to another question. I'm just going to switch the offer that is displayed here. Just load that. Okay, there we go. So I'm going back to the chat again. Seeing. Okay, so Ivan says, okay, I personally see men and women as one, and there is not a difference. In the 10 months, there, let's see, your English is beautiful. Let's see, in the 10 months. Okay, so I think what you're asking about is the difference between being a man and being a woman, because in the beginning of the uterus, in the womb, there is no gender difference. You're talking about the penis and the clitoris both being the same. Yes. Okay, let me see if I can decipher the question here. Just about yes, we are the same in the beginning in the womb, that's true, before our body develops further. Then, however, there is a shift at some point. I think it's maybe in week 8 or something in the womb, where we switch into being either a baby girl or a baby boy, or in some rare cases more like a mix of the two. And there are also hormonal shifts. So I think it's in week 8 in the male fetus, there is a flood of testosterone through the brain, creating different brain chemistry setup for our life. So I would say that in essence, on the level of awareness, on the level of just pure life energy and pure consciousness, we are definitely all the same. And yet, in terms of the human interface and in terms of the body structure, just in the experience of hormones and cycles and preferences and personalities and all of that, we are definitely unique as men and as women. And all of us are unique in our own way, but there's definitely a certain quality to being born with a woman's body and a certain quality to being born with a man's body that is to be enjoyed and celebrated. And I do not feel that there's any use in trying to be all the same, because we are not, because we are all unique, because we're all beautiful in our own way. So however you show up in your man's or woman's body is beautiful. Let me see if I got that question right, or if there's anything else you want me to clarify. So I'm just going to scroll down and see if there are any more questions. Okay, so Amanda says, the awakening experience for me is elusive. How do you maintain that feeling? So this is something that a lot of people experience, is that there is an awakening and then there's a feeling of losing it. Almost like going back. And what seems to be, there are lots of dogs barking here in the background, maybe you can hear them. what seems to be the case is that, and this has been true for me because I've had many glimpses before of waking up and then it kind of fading and going back to just to normal. Although once it has been recognized, it can never really be forgotten. It can never really be unseen. But if you have the experience of awakening, coming and going, there can be a couple of different aspects to this. One of them is that you don't yet see the value in this. So another way of saying this is that if the dream is sweet, there's no reason to wake up. So very often it's through an experience of suffering that the contrast between the suffering related to the human personality and the freedom of open awareness is so huge that we see, oh my God, the freedom of open awareness is more important than anything. I don't even care what happens in my human life anymore. I don't even care. All that matters now is to keep on recognized awareness, to keep on recognized this freedom. And through seeing the value in it, then naturally, without needing discipline, naturally, we will prioritize that in a way that when we are in the midst of an argument, for example, more important than being right and getting our point across to the other person is to see, can we rest open and recognize spaciousness and awareness even in the midst of this which is happening. Again, not to be detached and far away from the experience, but just to be rested open in a way that we can receive the experience and the interaction and the emotion without identifying with it. So when we see the value in the awakened space, when we see the value in the experience of being rested as open awareness, then there will naturally be a priority and a reminder of this all the time. And this is something that we can remind ourselves of in any moment. Like I said, in any moment of any day, whatever you're doing, whenever you remember to just rest as awareness, rest as awareness. Short moments, repeated again and again and again and again and again until it becomes more or less permanent. Another thing, which is something that Bentinho talks about a lot, is to recognize that awareness is always here no matter what you do. We may or may not be aware of awareness, but awareness is always aware of whatever is happening. So just know that awareness is here no matter what you do. It cannot be taken away. Even if the body goes away, it cannot be taken away. Even if hormonal fluctuations happens or emotions happen, it cannot be taken away. So just know that. And then remind yourself as often as you remember to have these moments of recognizing awareness. The limitless meditation I have found also can create a very profound shift where it starts to seep into your everyday life and your daily life in a really profound way. And then whatever works for you is perfect. For some people it's dancing, for some people it's shaking, for some people it's meditating, for some people it's being in nature. So when you recognize that certain experiences facilitate, make it easy for you to recognize awareness, then prioritize doing that more and more and more until you can recognize awareness all the time, no matter what. So Amanda, hopefully that answers your question. Can I have a sip of water? Let's see. Okay. Wow, it's so hot and sweaty over here. Let's see if there are any more questions. Okay, Shitl says, thank you for sharing. Thanks for sharing your wisdom and radiance, sister. I'm off to explore Bellingham now. So you're in Chicago, right? Or in Washington, something like that. Knowing the passion and quality of your online academy, I really hope that everyone on here signs up for that. Thank you, Shitl. Yes. So he's a guy, so he's not allowed in, but that's very nice words. So just checking if there are any last questions or requests. Matt says, yeah, I get a lot of contractions in the solar plexus too. Yeah, and so when you get the contraction in the solar plexus, one thing you can check in This is really powerful, and I know if this is the mat that I think it is, then I know that you know this already, but just when that contracted feeling happens, something to ask yourself is, what belief in lack am I filtering the experience through that causes the contraction in my solar plexus, or that causes the feeling of fear? What false belief in lack am I buying into in this moment that causes me to feel contraction in this way? And simply to seeing, perhaps, oh, I'm believing that I will be lacking love, or I'm believing that this person doesn't love me, or I'm believing that because this person said this about me, it means that I'm not worthy of love or whatever, or because there's a certain number of on the screen in my bank account, that means that I'll be lacking things, or I'll be lacking life, or I'll be lacking whatever. And through seeing that and seeing that any belief in lack isn't true, watching the contraction go away. So that is something that is very powerful as well. Okay, so Victoria, I can see that you want to come up as a speaker and check. So if you're still here, I'm going to invite you, and if you want to come up and speak, then you just have to accept the things that are coming up, that are asked for there. So let's see. Oops. So let's see, there is one question that I can only see the bottom half of. Let's see, can somebody just type something into the chat so that that question just comes down a bit? I have like a little bar that is blocking the first half of it. So if you are fast, then just type something in the chat, just a yes or an anything. Then I will be able to see the question. Okay, cool. I can see from Ivan, I'm learning Tantra for 1 year and need some good practices to teach me more. So can you tell me please about some good school in Europe where I, as a person and entity, can spiritually grow in that direction and share knowledge? Till now, I spent some time in ayahuasca schools and mushrooms. Yeah, let's see. You're warmly welcome to come to anything with me. We're also gonna, thank you. We're also gonna have a 5-day retreat next summer in June in Holland with Tiger Singleton. I'll be co-teaching with him, so you're very welcome to come to that one. You can message me after if you want some more links. I can also recommend Wild Tantra, which is located in France and sometimes in Holland. Also, Ramya Norel has really nice retreats, mostly for women, but also for men and women. Let's see, you can also go to livetantra.com if you want more information about global things that are happening. We also have an event calendar there. So those are a few different things. So guys, I'm gonna just see if there are any more questions. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up for today. And so again, you'll be sent the replay link for the webinar. You can skip the first, you can just let the first maybe 15 minutes load or something, because we had some audio and video issues. And when you watch the replay, then you'll see a replay which looks pretty much exactly like this, where you can see the chat and everything. But down, I don't know which side you're seeing me on, but down in the I believe here on this side, down in the right-hand corner, you'll see a little YouTube logo for the replay, and if you click on it, it will open a new link and show it on YouTube, and then you can scroll back and forth. So if you only missed a little part of it, or if there's a specific part you want to go back to, then you can open the replay and then click on the YouTube logo, and then you can go back and forth. And otherwise, you can just watch the replay just as it is, and then you'll see the chat and everything. Okay. So we're going to wrap this up. So once again, I'll send you the links to the gifts and the offers. So the gifts are the Sensual Yogini 1 month for free. The offer is a year membership, including 3 months for free, plus a free one-on-one awakening and empowerment coaching session for the first 10 women who join. And you'll also get sent a link, everyone, men and women, to the Limitless meditation and the shaking practice with a lot of nice music for that. And the offer for both men and women is that you can book 4 awakening and empowerment coaching sessions, and you get a 5th one for free. So that will all be sent to you, and I might also put in the links again for that. Let me just load this coaching offer one last time. And I don't know if there are actually any left of the first 10, but you might still be lucky for that. We had a lot of people here on the call today. So we're just going to go over to the chat. Okay, so Grat, I don't know if you're saying your name right. Saying thank you so much, Ronja. I really enjoyed it. Hope to see you in Amsterdam January 2nd. Yes, I'm going to be flying in from Hawaii. I'll be landing at Schiphol Airport like 2.5 hours before the event starts. Probably jet lagged and happy and tired. But yeah, see you in January in Amsterdam. Amanda says, really enjoyed this, Ronja. Thank you so much. Much love. Thank you, Amanda. Rose says, thank you, dear Ronja. Beautiful sharing as always. Lots of love to you. Lots of love to you, Rose, as well. Thank you, Ronja. You're welcome. You're welcome. So with this, guys, I wish you just all the best. Feel free to come back to this. You'll have access to the replay. I'll send out the links to the gifts and the offers as soon as I've logged off here. And I'm looking forward to seeing you either virtually or in a one-on-one coaching session, or in the Sensual Yogini Academy, or on the dance floor somewhere, or in a live workshop. Might also do some live workshops in Holland in the beginning of next year, so stay tuned for that as well. And what I want to just say in closing is just communicating in a way the gratitude for this life and for the miracle of this life experience, that we can tune into each other and connect in this way virtually through the magical powers of the internet. Until we have all worked out telepathy and all of that, we have webinars instead, which is cool. So I feel grateful for all of you tuning in here today. And just every single day waking up, it's just such a joy and such a miracle and such just overflowing gratitude. I've been crying quite a lot in the last few days, just from sheer inability to contain this amount of love and joy and gratitude, that it seems to just flow over into tears because just the body cannot handle it or something. And so every day it's a continuous experience of opening to just becoming more transparent to love and to life and to openness in this way. And this is what I wish for all of us, I have experienced so many years of so much just turmoil and struggle and shit happening in my life, and now being rested in this place that is essentially free and open. And in sessions and in workshops and in meetings with people, I'm seeing this happening in so many people. It is not difficult at all. It is really readily available. The awakened space is as simple as just recognizing already free, already open and aware of this. And that from this we are connected to all of life. Nothing can possibly ever be lacking. Who we truly are can never ever die. And infinite abundance is the reality of this life. So life is so sweet and so precious. Whatever you want to do, travel, expand, see the world, create, share this love with people, just go for it and do it. And if there's anything that in your emotions, in your thoughts, is in the way of that, then just see, either through recognizing that even in the midst of feeling contracted, in the midst of feeling limited, there's something, recognizing, noticing that is already open and free. And if you want further guidance in this, then you're warmly welcome to come for sessions with me or with anyone else you feel resonance with, or that you feel when you're in their presence. So lots of thank yous coming in for the chat here. Thank you for your passion and clarity. Thank you. Thank you. Very sweet, inspiring talk. Thank you, Christopher, Alicia, Kirsty, Karen, Matt, Judith, Rain, Bibi, Rose, Amanda, even Rat. Lots of people and many more. Many, many more. Okay, so wish you all a beautiful night or day. Gonna go out into the sunshine, probably go down for a swim in the ocean after I send out the email to you with so much love. Thank you.